We begin with a story from New York. There are signs of a deep rift emerging between the White House and New York District Attorney Preet Bharara over the arrest and mistreatment of the Indian diplomat Devyani Khobragade. The Washington Post newspaper says Khobragade's arrest and Bharara's subsequent clarification took the White House by complete surprise. The paper quotes an unnamed White House official as saying, "We didn't know that it was coming." It also goes on to say that certain courtesies were not extended to Khobragade during her arrest. The paper says relevant White House officials knew an investigation was underway, but that nobody knew an arrest was going to happen. Referring to Khobragade's arrest and cavity search following that arrest, the White House sources go on to say that's not the way these things are done. If the Justice Department wanted to throw the book at her, the US could have made her leave the country. That's the way these things are done. Significant differences now emerging between the White House and Preet Bharara, the New York District Attorney. We now have on the phone line Gaurav Sawant with us for more on this story. Gaurav, these are significant differences between Preet Bharara and the White House. The White House saying we had no clue he was going to do this, and this is certainly not the way it should have been done.
India's strong response to the arrest of Devyani Khobragade and insisting on reciprocity with all ties with the US appears to have forced the United States to take such a stand, because this is a change in the US stance. Initially, if you recall, the US spokesperson was categorical in saying that all due procedures were followed for a felon offense. But now there is a change. John Kerry, US Secretary of State, called up the External Affairs Minister, could not get through to him. He spoke to the NSA. Wendy Sherman yesterday then spoke to Foreign Secretary Sujata Singh and said perhaps some due courtesies were not followed. As the Washington Post report also now seems to indicate, there are differences on how this matter needs to be resolved, whether they'll take a legal look at this matter or a diplomatic look at this matter, because what the State Department now appears to be saying, or what White House now appears to be saying, is what India has been saying all along. If there were some problems, India should have been informed, and the diplomat could have been quietly withdrawn. That is exactly how the diplomacy takes place between two countries.
Right.
Also, we still haven't got clarity from the United States of America on when India was regularly taking up this matter with the State Department right from June 2013 onwards, whether it's a maid that went missing or a court order that was issued. No, none of that US got back to India, and then there was this arrest. So within Ministry of External Affairs, my sources say that now there may be differences between the State Department and the legal department in the United States of America. But initially, somebody in the State Department did sign off on Devyani Khobragade's arrest, and that is why State Department cannot be given a clean chit, and that is why the minister speaks of a conspiracy.
And this is where it gets interesting, because if the State Department now says that this is not the way we would have handled matters, that courtesies were not extended, it sort of gives room to the question of how they are going to resolve this, because India has asked the State Department, or rather India has now transferred Devyani Khobragade to the UN permanent mission in New York. That requires the State Department's sign-off for her diplomatic ID card to be changed. This is room for a possible solution if the State Department is distancing itself from Preet Bharara.
Oh, absolutely. This is a resolution mechanism, because both India and the United States are extremely close friends and strategic allies. On one issue, you do not want to sour relations between the two countries and two partners. But this is something diplomatically, you interface with each other through your diplomats. And if this is the kind of feeling that Indian diplomats or American diplomats would have, how would you take the relationship forward?
Exactly.
So as you rightly pointed out, Pierre, the way forward is to find an honorable exit, an honorable face saver for the US and an honorable exit for India on this issue. So you transfer Devyani Khobragade to the permanent mission in New York. You give her a new diplomatic identity card, which then has to be cleared by the government, by the U.S. government. And once that happens, then it's for the U.S. to sort it out internally, and then perhaps either Devyani Khobragade stays there as a diplomat, as a full-fledged diplomat with full immunity, or she returns home or goes elsewhere, and you forget this as a bad dream. But then again, the ball has been set rolling on that. Will it actually happen? Remains to be seen. Also, India insisting till Devyani Khobragade has full immunity, all the steps that are being taken in India, for example, withdrawal of immunity, withdrawal of VVIP privileges at all airports, that has started from this morning. No U.S. diplomat has any privilege at any airport from today. From 23rd, all their diplomatic identity cards stand null and void. Fresh identity cards would be issued. So clearly, a lot of steps are being taken to ensure strict reciprocity in this case now.